I have a few remarks prepared that I'd like to read, and then we'll begin with our presentation. Today, our nation owes a great debt to its veterans, whose service spans every decade and continues every day of this country's existence. Through untold courage and sacrifice, America's veterans have secured our freedom, which the Founding Fathers sought to establish here in the New World. Whenever and wherever the nation has called, both in times of darkness and danger as well as in times of peace and prosperity, America's veterans have been there. They have proudly carried the torch of liberty for all of us to see. Those that serve or who have served in our armed forces are not superheroes, but rather ordinary people who chose to do something extraordinary. Our nation's veterans represent the millions of American men and women who have served the Republic over the past 243 years. Fortunately, this country has been blessed with many citizens who take their civic responsibilities seriously and have taken up arms whenever and wherever the rights of men and women have been threatened. These citizen soldiers were not seeking personal gain or even fame. These citizen soldiers heard their country call, and they answered. Their response was simple and patriotic. They recognized their civic duty and acted accordingly. Veterans have ensured your right to travel freely all around this great country and around the world, to do things like having access to the internet, the ability to go to the movies, play sports, go to a concert, or just hang out with your friends. In fact, this very school building stands in part because of the sacrifices of our veterans. This year we celebrate the centennial anniversary of Veterans Day. The first celebration was declared a National Day of Remembrance by President Woodrow Wilson in 1919. We celebrate Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I, the armistice that began on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. In the years since, President Wilson made the 11th of November a National Day of Remembrance. The scope of our observance has changed from a day set aside to remember the dead from one war to a day in which American veterans from all wars, as well as those who served in times of peace, could be honored. We owe our nation veterans a debt we could never, ever repay. We can and should remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for all of us. But we must honor them with deeds, not just with words. So how do Americans properly thank our armed forces this day? It can be as simple as thanking a veteran for their service. Americans can thank by living their lives and enjoying America's greatness. We can thank our veterans by taking full advantage of our rights that they defended for us. President John F. Kennedy once said, "A nation reveals itself not only by the people it produces, but also by the people it honors and the people it remembers." 18.2 million veterans walk among us, and on this day, our nation salutes them all. I ask that everyone please stand as our honor guard presents the colors. At this time, I would like to invite Radnor High School senior Meredith Foreman to sing the national anthem. Please remain standing at the end so that our honor guard can retire the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched
speak about our Veterans Day Poetry Contest. Mrs. Latour.
Hey, happy Veterans Day, everyone. In October, Radnor High School students received an invitation to participate in a school-wide poetry contest. The submissions needed to be original pieces, and the criteria was for participants to honor veterans or Veterans Day and or speak to what it meant to be a veteran or veteran from their point of view. So that positionality is essential. Each poet embraced the task differently, but all of them reflected on the significance of what it means to be a veteran, for those who served and for those who sacrificed. And they tell the narrative quite differently, but they tell it truly. The winners today all will receive a certificate and a Wawa gift card. Just so that you know, the winning prizes are the following. First place will receive $50, second place, $25, and third place, $10. But all of them are honored today for their poetry and their voices. Out of the various poems that were submitted, these three stood out. And they stood out because they had the courage to honor and to speak to what it means to be a veteran or what it means to honor those on Veterans Day. So at this time, please help me to welcome Alexis Fry, who's our third place winner.
Hi, I'm Alexis Fry. This is my poem. Veterans doing what is arduous for the safety of everyone, defending us in storm, darkness, and sun, far, far away from any loved one. Tales of great battles continuing to be spun. From home we all sit stunned, while they best those we could never outrun, fighting the fights that would leave most undone, and protecting us from the problems nobody can outrun. Forever grateful for all they have done, veterans of past, present, and those to come. Yet all of these words have hardly begun to describe all of the battles both lost and won, always protecting America in the long run.
Okay, so our second place winner is Catherine Dunn. She's not here today, so on her behalf, Meredith Foreman will read her poem. Please help me to welcome her.
Stripped of their right to say no, no other option than to go. Although it doesn't seem right, the men are forced to fight. There's minimal time to spare, loved ones filled with despair. Is this a final goodbye? The men could possibly die. Sent off on their mission, with nothing but a commission, to prevent communist power, the men fought at all hours. There is no other way, they're men with no say. When from strangers to brothers, the men protect one another. Unexpected goodbyes, through the laughs and the cries, an unnecessary fight, we've lost men of might.
And our first place winner is Kyle Layton.
I'm Kyle Layton, and this is my poem. When the bullets have ceased and the dust has settled, when the shells have fallen and the sounds echo, only then can we begin to comprehend the great sacrifice given. Acts of courage, selflessness, bravery, a hero is made. For a hero is not determined by how many medals upon their chest, nor how many stars lie upon an epaulette. But a hero is judged on character, selfless, heroic, altruistic, courageous. For those who gave and those who gave it all, no words can express the plea of gratitude we face. For fighting for what is just, for what is true and right, for turning and standing in the face of danger, never ceasing to answer the call for help. Today we shall honor the heroes, the saviors and leaders. Today we shall honor veterans.
In just a minute, I'm going to give a brief biography of each of the veterans we are honoring today, but I want wanted to recognize someone who is not being honored but is always with us. He's one of our local legends, Mr. Marty Costello. Would you stand for a moment? I think we all know Marty. Marty served in the U.S. Navy and is now commander of the American Legion Post, number 418 in Wayne, Pennsylvania. Thank you for your service, Marty. Today we honor three amazing men: Lieutenant Colonel Christopher Jacobs, U.S. Navy Senior Chief Petty Officer Foley Hurt, and First Sergeant Robert Colella. I'd like to talk about Mr. Jacobs first. We recently found out just today that his wife, Mrs. Rosemary Jacobs, could you please stand, is also a veteran of the U.S. Army for 6 years. Please give her a round of applause. Christopher Jacobs is a retired lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army. In his last assignment while serving on active duty, he was an assistant professor in the Department of Law at the United States Military Academy at West Point, where he was a member of the faculty for 4 years.